Good morning and welcome to Formula for Wealth. And my guest today is Luke Giorgio. Luke, welcome to Formula for Wealth.
Morning, Karen. Lovely to be here.
Thank you. Luke, would you like to tell our viewers and our listeners a little bit about what it is you do?
Yeah, of course. So my background has been in high performance sport. So I worked for 6 years at a club called Tottenham Hotspur. Apologies if there's any Arsenal fans watching today. I do actually support Arsenal myself, funny enough. So worked with the club for around 6 years, which we'll probably end up going back into as we go through this interview today. Then I set up my own sports coaching company, which I've sold in December. So that was really amazing and tied in very similarly to the coaching aspect of working at Spurs. And then this year I've set up a really special service. So I'm helping business owners and professionals look and feel 10 years younger. So helping them get to the weight they want, lose the weight, but also upgrade their health at the same time. And that's what I'm currently doing now.
And you do quite a bit around mindset, which is one of the reasons I've asked you to come on here, because mindset is, to me, 80% of investing is mindset.
Yeah, 100%. So I totally agree. A large portion of what we do is, whether I was professionally coaching at Spurs or whether we're helping people with their health, mindset is the key component that goes across everything that I've done. So I totally agree that mindset is key, and investing and developing your mindset every single day is something that I teach and that I also do myself. Yeah.
I know one of the things that some of my clients have talked about a lot lately is morning routines. Do you have one?
I do. Funny enough, it's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite topics. I drive my wife crazy when I do my morning routines. But yeah, so we can talk around. We'll talk around morning routines. I think the first thing you're going to want to do is really identify your vision. What is it that you really want? Why are you getting up early and doing all this craziness in the morning? What is it that you want to get out of it? So really clarifying where you are and where you want to be is the first stage, and having a real strong reason why you want to do it. So vision creates intention. If you haven't got a vision, then you can't act accordingly. When you've got a vision as to where you want to go, then that creates intention to then go and get it. So I always say that vision is the mother of intention. That's the first thing that we need to clarify, is where we're going. Once we know that, we can then set out a morning routine that's going to help optimize our mind, body, and spirit, or mind, body, and vibe, to help us get there. So I'll go through what I do. I wake up between 5:30 and 6 a.m., depending on the quality of sleep I've had normally. And then I wake up, and the first thing I do is I drink lemon water. So I get a fresh lemon, and I've got a little device that makes it go into a cylinder, and the lemon rehydrates you. It flushes, detoxifies your liver, and it gives you electrolytes that you've lost during the night. So lemon water is my first thing. After that, I then have a 30-minute period where it's very much inner work. So I'll meditate for around 20 minutes or so, and that's just really like decompressing, really honing in and becoming present in the day. And a lot of the times you'll have insights that come up in that meditation as well. While I'm in that zone of sitting down and calm and meditating, I use that as a trigger. So you'll notice in your day, and we'll go into this as well, that there'll be little things that trigger you to do other things. So I use the meditation as a trigger to do my visualization. Because I'm sitting there and I think, right, my meditation's done, now I'm going to visualize where I want to be. And a really powerful visualization is a two-step visualization. You visualize where you want to be, and then after that, it only needs to be 1 or 2 minutes, but you're really feeling the feelings, you're smelling the smells, you're really picturing yourself being there. And then you do another visualization straight after of what your perfect day looks like today. So we've got where we want to go, and then we've got where we are today, and we're bridging the gap between the two to make sure that we're getting steps closer every single day to get to where we want to go. And that was something that I did when I was starting off at university, and I wanted to be a Premier League football coach. I used to visualize first and foremost driving into an academy training ground. That was what I visualized. I visualized the trees. And then about 3 years later, I noticed that myself driving into Tottenham Hotspur's training ground, which hadn't even been built when I started having the visualization. And it was exactly as I visualized it, with the trees either side, the pitches. It was beautiful. So that was a really nice moment that it all come together for me.
I found, like, for my morning routine, I get up.
Oh,
It's a
Karen,
glass.
that's not it. That's just the first section.
That's the first section.
That's
Carry
the
on.
first section.
Carry on.
So at this stage, we've done our visualization. I then think it's really important to get your body moving. So in the morning is when you wake up with the most cortisol, the stress hormone, and that can lead for you to put on weight, to feel lethargic, to feel sluggish. So we want to flush that cortisol out first and foremost. So I'll either go for a jog, or and by a jog I try and go for around 5k, or I do a weights workout. So upper body, normally strength, or lower body. Once that's complete and you've done your workout, I like to get in the shower, but then before the shower, I use that as a trigger to just remind myself of my business plan or my affirmations and where I'm going. And I say that out loud. So I use the trigger I sometimes say it in the shower. And I use that as a trigger. That's the morning routine. In around that as well, I love to say what I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
Just to bring me present, because as an entrepreneur and a business owner, we're always striving for the future and where we want to go. So when we say what we're grateful for, it just brings us back into the present moment, and it gives us a moment just to breathe again and to think about all the amazing things that's already in our life. And then we go a million miles an hour again to try and achieve what we want.
Because one of the things I do with my clients, and it's something that I learned back in the 80s, believe it or not, is the perfect day. And I have a vision of what my absolute perfect day is. And all the investing that I've done leads to, eventually, I will get to my perfect day. And I'm a global perfect day, so I have a morning in one country, an afternoon in another country, and my lunch in a third country. And I've actually built that, except for the one part. So, yeah, by creating the perfect day, you've set the image of what you actually want. You state the intention of what you want, and it actually does come. And like I tell my clients, it's so easy to make money, to become wealthy, but you have to have something that you want, that you desire, to keep you focused on it. And I think that's where the morning routine comes in, and it's something that we've actually talked a lot about. So as I was going to say before I interrupted your morning day, for me, it's I go for a walk first thing in the morning. It's a walk, and it's around it can go up to about 5k, depending on how energetic I feel that day. I do have health issues, so it depends on how I'm feeling. And the visualization, you talk about triggers for visualization. I have songs, so I have a playlist, and that I have a vision that goes with each song. So it is really, I think visualization and putting all that together is extremely powerful. Going back to when you were a coach at Spurs, I know with clients, they have a great deal of difficulty overcoming the fear. And I imagine you came up against that a lot with your players and in the coaching. How do you actually deal with that?
Dealing with fear. So yeah, it's a good question, and it's still something that I deal with on a constant basis now. I think the important thing to remember is fear. I don't think fear ever goes away. I think we're always going to experience fear. It's a natural part of being a human, but we don't want to let fear cripple us and stop us achieving what we know we're capable of. So yeah, fear comes up and does come up all the time. And I think dealing with fear is, I think the meditation helps, being present and feeling it, or writing about it in a journal. So don't suppress it, express it. So get it out there, and try and put it out, so then it's not in your head all the time.
Mm.
Which I think a lot of people go. What a lot of people do is they feel this fear, and it just stops them taking action. And I think sometimes when you write it down, it's a little less intimidating when you get it out. But how I try and see it is that the only time you actually fail is when you stop trying. So as long as you're doing something, you're either learning a lesson or you're succeeding. You're learning a lesson or you're succeeding. And I just take that every step, every day. I just take step by step. Right, what lesson am I going to learn today, or what am I achieving? Because I only ever fail when I stop. And failure, going back to fear, as we all know, that fear isn't real. It's a construct of the mind that we make up. And I think that when we know that it's just something in our own heads, like, oh, I'm not good enough, or what if they laugh at me, or what are they going to think about me? Like, this stuff comes up constantly. But I always try and think, like, when I go to bed at night, how would I like to acknowledge myself? So I always do that before I go to bed. So I'll say, Luke, I want to acknowledge you today for, and I write it on a yellow sticky pad. I think I've got it here. So just to show you that it's real, it says, what do I want to acknowledge myself for tonight? So then I'll just list the things, and it just makes me act, even if I'm fearful. I want to acknowledge myself at night for doing something that's going to make me fulfilled. So baby steps all the time is the way that you're going to get there. You don't need to just jump in the deep end. You can get in the shallow end and just start.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. One of the things you mentioned there is, and I call it imposter syndrome, thinking you're not good enough to do something. How often do you come across that, or how do you actually deal with that?
Yeah, so I think imposter syndrome is, again, it comes back to belief, and it links back to fear. But I always try and put myself in an environment where it's going to be harder for me to fail than it is to succeed. So Jim Rohn always says you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah. So
if you're spending the most time with people who don't believe in themselves, or are very negative, or then that's going to rub off on you, and you're going to be like that. There's mirror neurons. It's scientifically proven that we copy the emotions, expressions, behaviors of the people we spend the most time with. So can you try and have Zoom calls, conversations with people who are where you want to be, or a similar mind to you, where they're aspiring to achieve something? And the more we can put ourselves in a place of people who have done it already, that's gonna rub off on us and help us go where we want to go. So looking after your environment, I think, is probably one of the biggest things that you can do when it comes to either having £1 million business and getting to a £10 million, or having a business from scratch, trying to build it, is to operate with other people who are in a similar field to you, that have been there already or aspiring to be there. So that's what I would say when it comes to imposter syndrome, is hang around these people, have the conversations, ask them questions, be curious, be honest, admit sometimes when you don't know things. And the more you're in them circles, the more you're gonna raise your game to the level of the people you're operating with. That's probably the biggest thing I would say, is get in the right environment, get the right people around you. Yeah.
No, that's really good advice. Obviously, we talk about investing here, and I know we've touched on mindset as a big part of it. And you are obviously an investor yourself, because you have your business. We were talking earlier about the one that you sold just a few months ago.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that and your perspective of business and building businesses.
Yeah, sure. So I think first and foremost, you need to be passionate about the business that you're building. I think if you're excited and passionate about it, it goes a long, long way. And it's not easy at the start. Like you always start off with no clients,
Yeah.
and that's a really hard place to start with. I started off with no clients. I run a sports coaching business. I had 0 clients. I was quite fortunate. Knowing what I know is that I try and put myself in the environment with people that have been there already. So I actually targeted out someone who was already successful, and I looked to sort of create a franchise model based on what they'd done. And I learned from them. I was already a good coach, but the business side of things, I needed to learn quick. So I took my own advice, and I found someone who was doing it successfully already, and I learned the systems that I needed to, and it built really, really quickly. I only run it for about 2.5 years. We ended up having around 7 staff members, and there's no training for that. As you grow and you have different staff, like you're just learning on the job, and it can be quite challenging. You're trying to recruit staff, you're trying to train staff, and it can be quite daunting.
Yeah.
But having mentors that have been there already to help you is really, really critical. So it's nice that it ties back into what we just spoke about. And then you need to, the big thing is when you're growing is to have mentors, but once you've got to a certain size where you've probably surprised yourself, how do you then scale the business? This is something that I didn't know how to do. I didn't know how to scale a business once it got to a certain size. And I struggled for quite a while. Like, how do I, I'm doing admin, I'm doing coaching, I'm training, I was all over the place. So that is something that you're really going to have to be prepared for, and then invest in more training and mentoring once you get to that stage as well. So yeah, I think that's really important, is starting off having mentors and then getting to the point where you're scaling the business, and then being aware, and you think, you know what, I'm at a place now where I think I need some additional help, and not being afraid to ask for that help, and not neglecting your health along the way. Because us business owners, it's very, very easy to go full into the business and neglect the health. I had a conversation yesterday, someone that's jumped onto our 10 years younger accelerator program, and they said to me, I said, why is now the right time? And they said, well, work's calmed down a little bit, I'm not as busy, so I'm going to focus on my health. And I asked the question, so was health not an option when you was busy then? And they said, oh, it was, but, and they didn't really know what to say. So health is always an option, even if we've just started a business or we're midway through.
And that comes right back to what we were talking about earlier, is having your morning routine where you build that side of it in. Because like you said, if you haven't got the physical health, if you haven't got the mental health, then you're not going to be able to build your business.
Yeah, love it. So yeah, the routine, the morning routine, and we didn't mention about the evening routine. So in order to unlock the morning routine, you need to have a consistent evening routine. You need to be going to bed consistently at the right time and being disciplined, saying no to Netflix, saying no to the late night emails, saying no to all this stuff that is going to hinder you in the morning and allow you not to get up when you really want to get up. So yeah, the evening routine is key. And having these routines in the morning and the evening are just little reminders that you need to, that are going to help you build your health and build your mindset. So important. I think everyone that I've spoke to that's achieved success in business and in health and in life have always got these morning routines and evening routines that they're building their life around and building their business around. They can't be compromised, I don't think.
No, I have some of the things you've talked about, mentors. I have mentors. I've always had mentors since I was a kid playing tennis. That was my sport, and I've always had mentors. And one of the things that I've learned is you have the mentor, you have the books. And when I talk about the books, I have a success diary that my current mentor works with me on. So that's the visualization, it's putting together everything to set the day up. And then at the end of the day, it's got all the gratitude in it and all the, like you said, the winding down. So you've got the morning and the nighttime routine. But I also have a journal, and I've kept a journal since I was 11 years old. And I always talk about dumping my mind into the book, and I write and write and write until I can think of nothing else to write in there.
Yeah.
And to me, that then clears the mind totally so that you're open to receiving new opportunities, looking at new things, and just taking advantage of you're not stewing on something, you're clear, you can focus on something now.
Yes, yeah, 100%, Karen. I totally agree. I think sometimes, I think what's a really good practice is fear journaling, so writing down what you're afraid of,
Mm.
getting it out of your head and out of your body where you're anxious and you're nervous and whatever it might be. I still experience that, and just getting it onto paper and writing all the things that I'm afraid that could happen today or could happen in the future. I think the other morning I wrote pages of of crap that I was afraid of, and but just getting it out onto paper, it does help separate it from being in here to just being out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, really really powerful tool.
And I think, like you said, you release a lot of tension in yourself as well, which in the long term does more damage, doesn't it?
100%. Yeah. So yeah, being anxious and being nervous and having that tension in your chest and in your shoulders, it's really important that you've got methods in place to help you with this, because otherwise long term it's gonna hinder
Mm.
you. So yeah, agreed.
When we were talking earlier about investing, you said that you did some in shares.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah,
still in shares, or do you, how did you get into that?
yeah. So funny enough, my mum actually has worked for Barclays Bank since she was 14.
All
She got
right.
her first job, so she's been there her whole life. She obviously she's in her 50s now, and or is she 60? That's bad that I can't remember my mum's age. But yeah, so she's always been in the bank. So we've had shares in the bank, and it's just something that we get like some better deals because she's an employee. So we've always just had a passive sort of amount of our income going into that, which was great until the coronavirus wiped
Cool
everything out.
shares to do this.
Then
Yeah.
the shares went down. Yeah, but no, totally. I love what you do in terms of like diversifying and investing in different areas, and I think it's absolutely pivotal to long term growth and security. And I'm learning from our conversations together as well. From what you're
Mm.
saying to me, I'm learning as well, which I'm constantly looking to grow my knowledge and mindset as well. So yeah, hopefully this can continue.
Well, one of the things that I try to explain to clients is you never stop learning.
Mm.
Even me, I mean, I'm in my 60s and I still learn. I'm still reading books every day. I'm still watching videos. I've always got I I don't watch television. I extremely rare that I actually sit down and watch a traditional television program, but I've always got Bloomberg going in the background on the TV. So there's, even subconsciously, you're always absorbing something.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that every like having putting something into your practice, what we didn't talk about earlier was the personal development side of things in the morning.
Mm.
So I go through phases of changing my routine. So before, sort of about 3 weeks ago, I changed my routine to what I said to you, and now I try and get my audio books in every other morning. I might go for a walk.
Yeah.
Before I was doing exactly what you was doing. I was going for long walks every morning. Audio was in, and I was just learning and just developing myself. And doing it every single day made such a difference. It makes such a difference being consistent with your learning and your personal development.
Mm.
And I advise anyone just to try it, just to go 30 days every day, reading or listening to a book and just seeing how it develops your mindset. It's really, really important. And it would be great to know as well from your community what books they're reading and listening to at the moment. I'm always looking to pick up new gems. And well, the great one obviously is the 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma. That's an absolute, that has been a joy. Atomic Habits is a great
I'm
one.
always telling my
Clients
to read my books.
Karen, your books are obviously the best books.
Definitely, yeah.
So it's definitely, are they on Audible though? Can you listen to them?
No, I'm working on
Uh,
Audible at the moment.
okay.
They're getting ready for that. I've realised it's a market that I need to be in a bit more. But the problem is a lot of it is visual because you're teaching.
Yeah.
Well, I have some books that the visuals not important. It's just the stories that are in there. But some of the training books, obviously, I'm looking at graphs and charts and all sorts of things. So that's a very difficult one to put onto audio.
Yeah.
I'm
No.
waiting for 3D vision when you can, hologram books. That's what I need.
Won't be long. It won't be long until that comes along.
Well, hopefully, someone who's listening to this can go and develop hologram books for us.
Yeah.
Talking about going back to business now, what were some of the things that you were key to you learning when you were building your business and when you went to sell your business?
So key lessons that I'm learning even now with this business is that I think the fear, coming back to fear, is you're always going to experience fear. You're going to have these thoughts that, oh God, like what if it doesn't work, or what if I don't get this, and what if I don't get that? So having strategies to overcome fear, I think, has been really important for me on my journey. Having mentors and investing in coaching has been really key for this business. Having periods of time where you can separate downtime with work. So if you're working from home, like a lot of us have been, we're on our laptops on the sofa, in the kitchen, in all the rooms where we're doing emails, and having different spaces for different activities is really key. So when you're sitting on the sofa or you're sitting in the kitchen, that's time for eating, or that's time for family time, rather than it's not always work, because it can become very blurred. So I think differentiating your areas of what you do is really key, especially now. We're in a lockdown period. I think that's been really important for me. Having time, this is probably the biggest thing, Karen, having time to switch off and to not let your business consume you. Me and my wife, we went to the seaside the other day, and I was a little bit resistant because I thought I've got to drive down there, and it's time away from. It was a Sunday, bearing in mind, so it wasn't like it was a Monday, a Sunday, and I was a bit resistant. I was like, oh, I don't want to. It's the drive, and it's time away from other things, and I'd done it, and it was the best decision I could have made, because we sat there. We ate, so we bought some like fresh seafood together. We looked out at the sea, and it was an amazing, like, just downtime to decompress and to feel fresh again for Monday. So I would definitely say, don't be so harsh on yourself. Whatever you're doing, try and find the time to have a little bit of downtime, even if it's one day a week. Try and invest in that day and really have it as a day where you're just enjoying yourself.
Listening to that is quite interesting, because I've always worked from home. I say I've always worked from home. Being self-employed, I've always worked from home. Prior to that, I worked in banking and in inland revenue. And it was one of the things that my husband and I used to do, is that we would switch off at a certain time. We'd go and have a spa, and that was the routine, to say, once we were in the spa, there was no discussion of work, there was no discussion of anything. And at one stage we had a staff of 35, and I'd get messages at the end of the day saying, can you ask your husband this, can you ask him that? And the next morning, first thing in the morning, they're saying, have you asked him? And I'm saying, no. But you've had all evening and you haven't asked him. And I'm saying, yeah, but we don't work in the evening.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that people find really difficult, is to have that discipline to switch off and to say, no, my workday is finished here. Even when you're working at home, you have to switch that time off.
Yeah, I think allocating time. having allocations. So if you're on a lot of calls, booking your calls in for certain days and certain times. So like one of the things that I've started to do since I built this business, one of the mistakes I made before was booking in calls at all different times and all different days. I've got a call at 8 in the morning. I've got a call at 6 at night. Well, hold on a minute. They're starting to interfere with my morning and evening routine now, and that can't happen, because that's what's going to look after my health, my mind. So I've got to now bring my calls into certain time frames and really be strict with myself and with other people. Not strict with other people, but just tell them how it is. Like, in terms of, this is my time that I can speak, and then stick to that. Otherwise, you're going to drive yourself crazy with doing all different activities all throughout the day, and it's going to be really tough to sustain that energy levels to build the business like you want it to be built.
Yeah.
Really, they're some of the key lessons, I think, and they sound so obvious, but until you're in the craziness of running a business, you tend not to switch off. You don't have time off. You don't allocate like time block and allocate your time that well sometimes. So yeah, these are all little things that I think can make a massive difference.
It is. One of the biggest problems I found, like I said, I worked in inland revenue, I worked in banking, and then I became self-employed. Right? And I had some free time where I could go out, and I used to feel guilty going out, because I'd think, this should be work time, you should be doing some work now.
Yeah.
I imagine everybody goes through that kind of it's an adjustment, isn't it?
I think it is, yeah, and that is, I've been guilty of that 100%. Where you feel like you haven't met your goals for the day, and you're working and working and working. And some of my biggest insights and my best moments have come when I've just gone out for a walk and I've just given myself 10 minutes, or I've changed my environment. So I've gone to work from somewhere else, and I had these amazing breakthroughs and ideas and insights. And I think creating time for that each day is really important. So little downtime periods where you might just do a bit of it, like the second wind workout. Sorry, we didn't speak about that, but I love doing, it's called in the 5 a.m. club, Robin Sharma talks about a second wind workout. So when you get to sort of 4 o'clock, where you're having that sort of evening dip, try and invest in around 20 minutes of vigorous exercise, or at least movement, just to burn the cortisol off again, release the endorphins, and feel a fresh perspective going into the evening time. It's really, really been a game changer for me as well. So that's something that I implement. It works really well.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I go and soak in the spa.
That's cool as well.
And it's cold. It's on these hot days. It's cold, so it's so refreshing.
Yeah, nice.
I listened to an interview with Jarek Robbins, and he does a lot on high performance, and he talked about having these ice cold showers in the morning. What do you feel about those? Because I know I can't go for an ice cold shower for 2 or 3 minutes in the morning. It's
something that gets talked about a lot in our world, and I know Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss talks about it a lot. It's something that he does, and a lot of the people that he interviews on his podcast also do the ice baths or have the freezing cold showers. And there is a lot of benefits to doing that. And it's funny enough, it's something that I've started to do as well. Just like you do the hot shower, but then you just end it with a cold flush, which it takes some getting used to. I don't think I'm used to it, if I'm being honest. But I love going away on holiday and having the ice baths in these spas. I love jumping in from the ice bath to the jacuzzi or the warm pool and feeling that difference. That feels amazing. So you don't like it, Karen?
Well, because we're in a hot climate, I tend to have a cold shower most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I go in the spa. Now the spa is 30 degrees, which is warm, but it feels cold because we're in such a hot climate. So to me, I have cold a lot, and the thought of making it even colder just does not appeal to me one little.
Sorry, Karen. I'm just going to get my my charger. Sorry.
Yeah. Right. So we just had a brief pause there. A few flat batteries, I think, came in. So we were talking about your business because that's been major for you.
Yeah,
You mentioned about upscaling, having to learn to upscale your business.
yeah.
Can you go through a little bit about how important that was for you and the learning experience that you had?
Yeah, I think when you get to a certain stage where you're employing staff and you're growing at a rate where it's such a different environment and a different place to where you started, you're playing a totally different game. It's like you was playing football and now you're playing tennis. You know, it turns into a different game, different ball game when you get to that level, and it can be quite overwhelming, quite daunting. So for me, I realised that it got to the stage where I had to make a decision. Do I want to scale this and continue growing and doing what we're doing, or do I want to, am I still enjoying it, or do I want to sell and realign myself? And for me, I wanted to realign because the business wasn't the same animal as it was when I started, and it was just me on my own. All of a sudden, having these staff and knowing that I had to recruit more staff and grow again, the business changed into something that I didn't fall in love with. I sort of, the spark went for
Mm.
me, and I think when the spark goes, you've got to sense that and make a decision. So I made the decision that I'm going to sell the company and really invest in coaching is always my passion. So that's been the one consistent throughout my life, but specifically diving into the health, helping people get to the exact weight they want, and developing their mindsets so they can stay and feel great. So they can operate at a high performing level all the time.
Yep.
Because we know business owners they're great at business, but the health is the first thing that is neglected.
Yeah.
And that's where I want to come in and help support people now with that, so they can just run their high performing business with momentum, you know. So yeah, making that decision at that point where I needed to scale up was really pivotal for me, and I'd imagine that will come in that will come on a lot of business owners' journeys. They'll have to make that decision.
Yeah.
Um, if I was going to scale up and go again, then it would have been a case of bringing in external help to help me manage that process, because I wouldn't have really known how to have done that on my own and gone to the next level. So
It
mentors again.
comes back to what you were saying earlier about knowing what your vision is, what your dream is, and what you want. Because, like you've said, you recognized that upscaling the business wasn't going to give you what you wanted. So you've managed to bring, you sold the business, you've brought that back. And I think that's something people tend to get a bit carried away with what's happening and forget this was what I was started this for. This is why I wanted to do this.
There's no point having your ladder up against the wrong wall and climbing
Mm.
all the way to the top and thinking, shit, I don't want to be up here. So I was climbing my ladder, and it was all good at the bottom of the ladder, in the middle of the ladder. But as I started to climb it, I started to get this feeling that I'm not on the right ladder anymore. And rather than continuing to climb, I mean, the money was good, money was great. It was the most money that me and my wife have ever had coming in. Lifestyle was great. We went to Dubai, Bali, and Cyprus that year, one of them years. We didn't know what happened. But to make that decision to say, I'm going to say no and go to nothing, I'm going to start from scratch. And we're expecting our baby in October as well. So it was a massive decision to say no to that and to step into something else. And it still brings up different feelings in me.
Yeah.
But I always feel that you've got to follow your heart, because fulfillment is far more important than it's like massive profits, I think, for me. And if you are fulfilled, then the profits will come.
Mm.
So having that constant dialogue and check in with yourself to make sure you are in the right place, you are climbing the right ladder at the right time.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with what you say there. So your current business now,
Yes.
Do you want to tell people a bit about your business and how they can get hold of you?
Yeah, of course. So we're helping professionals get to the weight they want, lose the weight, and upscale their health. And we're doing it in a really unique way, which I don't think that there's many other people that are doing it. So I always give the example: if you think of like an Olympic cyclist, they've got their nutritionist, they've got their physio, they've got their doctor, they've got their coach. We're creating that support environment for professionals. So when they come on board, they get their blood tests done, they get their all their vitamin and mineral levels checked, they get their kidneys, liver, cholesterol, they get everything checked. They know exactly where they are at. We do a food reactivity test as well to make sure there's no foods that are causing them issues, bloating, making them lethargic, having an adverse effect on their performance. And then at that stage, once we've got all this information, we can create a personalized program in terms of health, lifestyle, fitness. We've got a fitness team that will come in and design an exact fitness program for your goals. We've got nutrition to make sure that you're getting the right nutrition. We've got personal development and mindset work, and it's an 8-week program. And at the end of the 8 weeks, you would have seen massive transformation, not just outside in terms of your body, but also your body within. So we do your blood test again to make sure that all your levels are exactly where they need to be. A lot of the problem with a lot of weight loss and health programs is it's just about losing weight. Yeah. And that's key because it helps people with their confidence and self-esteem. But we're helping you lose weight and build health as well. So all the supplements are included in our program, and we get you exactly where you need to be. So it's a really exciting program. And Karen, any of your viewers that are listening to this, if they mention they're associated with you and your network, I want to offer them 20% off any service that we're running. We've got 2 key services. So there's 20% off for anyone in your network that is interested in doing any work with us.
Thank you. That's very generous. I'm thinking of a few people who'll be interested in connecting with you on that at the moment. So yeah, I think that would be really good. So how do people get in contact with you, Luke?
Yeah, so the website is lukegiorgio.co.uk. That's Luke, GEORGIOU.co.uk. And if you want to email me, my email is luke@lukegiorgio.co.uk. Think about that. And Facebook is Luke Giorgio. We can add this into the links as well. LinkedIn, Luke Giorgio. Yeah, would love to connect with the audience and just serve as many people as we can that want to develop their performance and
I will put those links in the description below so that if anybody wants to get in contact with Luke, they can just click on the links and they'll be able to go straight through and get in contact with you and tell Luke that you belong to the 273 Club and take advantage of those discounts that he's offering to you.
Wonderful.
Luke, it has been a real pleasure chatting to you. I think I have learnt a lot more and broadened my information, and it's been really enlightening. So thank you very much.
Thank you as well. Thank you for having me on today, and yeah, just look forward to continuing to learn from you as well. I'm getting so much insight from when we're spending time together and speaking. So long may it continue. And anyone that's viewing today, please reach out. I'd love to have a chat and see if I can help anyone in any way whatsoever, even if it's just a chat about anything that's come up in this conversation today.
Great. Thank you very much, Luke. Thank you for watching this video, and please, if you've enjoyed it, help me to encourage more people to be interviewed and bring you more fantastic information simply by hitting the subscribe button and the notification button. And if you've liked the video, please give the video itself a like. Thank you again for watching, and thank you for helping me grow this channel.